We are four days away from USC taking on Missouri State at the Coliseum. So is this going to be the too deep depth chart, or will this be the too deep depth chart? People are starting to ask me when week one's depth chart will be released. My answer, Thursday or Friday.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holton, and thank you for making Locked On USC. It's part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. And whether you are watching this show on YouTube, you know you can pick a platform, you can download this podcast. This show is always going to be free. This show is always going to appreciate your support. How many times have we seen a depth chart get released with the word, and I'm using finger quotes here, or between two players' names? I keep getting asked, Mark, when is the depth chart going to be released? Week one. My response has been, it's going to be Thursday or Friday. If you've been around long enough, you understand that a lot of times when a coaching staff releases their depth chart, they're not quite sure. They don't want to give away too much. And so they'll slide the word or in there. And a lot of times it's for his own locker room, just to kind of keep egos set aside, keep everybody happy, that type of stuff. But again, how many times have we seen, the first couple of depth charts, they get released, and where like the starting running back rotation was separated by the word or. When Lincoln Riley took over, it was Travis Dye or Austin Jones. By the way, let's give some props, a big fight on to Austin Jones. He took over the Lakeside High School football team. They hadn't won a game in over 2 years. First game out of the box. Guess who won their first game? That's Austin Jones. That's Austin Jones, a Trojan, getting the job done. Anyways, I digress. But it's not just at the running back position. It happens at the wide receiver as well as other spots, cornerback, nickel. Happens a lot on the offensive line. Here's what you need to know. If and when the first depth chart gets released and it has a bunch of ors, all that really means is the staff is still trying to decide, trying to figure out who gives the team the best chance for sustained success. And I would anticipate that being the case for weeks 1 and 2. It's going to give the coaching staff more time to, again, evaluate players, in a real game compared to, their practice evaluations, in their scrimmages, in that, very supervised environment, I guess is the best way to put it. Look, I'm not going to make you guys wait for the official depth chart. I'm ready. I have my too deep ready. I'm going to give it to you today. You know what? And take notes. Let's see how close I am to the actual depth chart when it's released later this week. So on offense, the quarterback position, no brainer, right? There's no or involved here. It's going to be Jaden Mayaba, Huson Longstreet, Sam Heward, Gage Roy. In that order, those are your 4 quarterbacks. Really going to only go too deep with the rest of the groups here, but quarterback, again, it was a no-brainer. Running back is going to get the or designation, but not because it's a one-back formation. I've got Waymon Jordan or Eli Sanders or Brian Jackson, depending on, is it a 2-back set that they roll out, on the first snap? Or is it a one where Riley empties the backfield, putting a guy in motion? So we know that everybody can catch the ball out of the backfield, but who's probably the best at it right now? I would say Eli Sanders probably has the best reputation for catching the ball out of the backfield. So again, this is just depending on the situation. If it's a one-back set, or if they want to go with a 2-back set. That was why I put that word or in there between all three of those running backs. Bottom line is this: Waymo, Eli Sanders, Brian Jackson, that's your rotation. And I think Coach Riley even said on the most recent Trojans live show Monday this week that I think he said that Waymo's going to get the first crack. But we'll see if he, I don't know if Coach Riley was just saying that to give, a little bit of misdirection. I'm not sure what he needs to hide from Missouri State. So I don't think he feels threatened by letting anybody know that Waymon Jordan's probably going to be the starter. Wide receiver is an easy group as well, just like the quarterback position. Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane are your for sure guys. Okay. We know they're going to be on the field as much as possible. In a 3 wide receiver set, though, is it going to be, I literally have it as Prince Strawn or Zacharias Williams. And then the backups, the next trio, if you're just going with the standard 3 wide receiver alignment, DJ Jordan, Jay Fair, Josiah Zamora. So whoever doesn't get the job with between Prince and Zacharias, one of those guys slides down into that, finger quotes, big wide receiver spot. Tight end, it's Lake McCree, it's Walker Lyons. That's your 2 deep. After that, your backups, you got Walter Matthews or Joey Olson. I think that, again, depends on the situation. We've talked about maybe using Walter in those jumbo packages, using him as kind of a 6th offensive lineman, or at least lining him up that way. But you could also use him in that tight end role if you get creative. The O-line, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's going to be a couple of oars. Absolutely, without a doubt. Here's how my first depth chart rolls out. Left tackle, Elijah Page. His backup, Elijah Vicona. Left guard, it's going to be Micah Banuelos or Tobias Raymond. Center, Killian O'Connor or Jalen Reed. Right guard, your starter will be Alani Noah. Kalon Miller will be his backup. Right tackle, it's going to be Tobias Raymond or Justin Taunu'u. I will get that name right one of these days. I apologize. No disrespect to Justin T. Just too many vowels for my tongue. Coach Riley, again, he was on the Trojans live show this Monday, and he kind of shed some light on the situation. He said the offensive line, it's in finger quotes here, started to solidify itself, and that they'll likely play both Killian and Jalen Ray at center, as well as Tobias Raymond is certainly going to start. And then he also said Justin is likely a starter. So when you kind of piecemeal all that together, Tobias is going to start. Justin is a likely starter. That's telling me that, all right, there's a very good chance it's going to be Elijah Page, left tackle, Justin, right tackle, Tobias, left guard, Noah, right guard, Killian, starting center. But again, I gave you those or situations. Those names that I just mentioned, they're all playing. They're all playing a lot in those first 2 games. Just a matter of, again, the staff needs to find the best 5 that work together. Let me flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive end, one side, you've got Anthony Lucas, Braylon Shelby. That's your 2 deep. The other defensive end position, Cameron Fountain, Jakeem Stewart. That's your 2 deep. Defensive tackle, Devin Tompkins, Jade Abasiri. Nose tackle, I have Keyshawn Silver or Jamal Jarrett. And then if obviously one of those guys is, there's going to be times when they play together. I'm going to put / Kobe Pepe as well. But I do think that Keyshawn or Jaw Jarrett will be starting next to Devin Tompkins. Weak side linebacker, Eric Gentry is your starter, period. Elijah Newby or Anthony Beavers will be backing him up. First guys off the sideline. At the mic, Desmond Stevens is your starter, backing him up. Is it going to be Jaden Walker or is it going to be Tamir Robinson? You're going to see those guys play. Remember, Gentry and Stevens probably aren't going to come off the field a lot And, well, maybe in the first 2 games, they'll get a chance to catch their breath, so the backups can get some playing time to earn some more playing time trust. I'll go over that more in the third segment when we're talking about what Rob Ryan needs to do with the group. In the second segment, I'm going to talk about, superstars. Who are going to be the superstars that kind of shoot to the sky. Everyone's going to notice. That's in the second segment. Getting back to my 2 deep depth chart. Cornerback. One cornerback spot, I've got Braylon Conley with Marcellus Williams or Chasen Johnson if he's healthy. The other cornerback spot, DeCarlos Nicholson or DJ Harvey. Excuse me. And then free safety. Kamari Ramsey. He's being backed up by Christian Pierce. Strong safety, Bishop Fitzgerald is going to get backed up more than likely by Kennedy or Locker. Let me repeat. Let me emphasize this again. This is not the official 2 deep depth chart. This is my view looking over the wall out there in left field. So I wanted to get this to you. So we'll see. How close am I to when the actual official depth chart gets released? And I think it'll be Thursday or Friday, depending on, when Coach Riley is ready to let everybody else know, who's going to be lining up against Missouri State. All right, 2 more segments to go. Like I said, we're going to talk about who are some potential superstars this year. And then third segment, what is Rob Ryan going to do with that linebacker room? That's coming up next. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL predictions. So whether you're calling your shot on the MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, maybe you're ready to crown the Super Bowl champ, this is your moment right now. How about Amon-Ra St. Brown for MVP in 2025? I'm calling my shot. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Future Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. We have a real important request. Everyone pay attention, please. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make our favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone, whoever completes this, you're going to be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. All right. Oops. Oh, I didn't get this there. I'm going to leave this up here for a few minutes so you can make sure you jot down that survey information. I thought I clicked that over. I apologize. All right. Every year, USC finds a couple of superstars that kind of spark interest around the country, opens everybody's eyes. In 2023, Zachariah Branch just didn't carry that over to 2024. So who's going to be the guys that kind of emerge in 2025, and they become talking points across the country? Who are some of those guys? I'm going to give you a few names that I've jotted down who I think have a chance to be superstars, to make a name for themselves, household names. Okay, so right off the bat, Waymon Jordan, he appears to be that guy, running back. I don't know if it's coach speak or not, but Coach Riley thinks he literally said this. He thinks he has the best running back group in the nation. He thinks he has the best room of running backs. I'm not denying they're good. Not at all. But the best? No. In the big picture, it really doesn't matter. What matters is Coach Riley believes it. And more importantly, if he believes that, that should be an indication that he wants to run the ball more in 2025. Waymon Jordan can make that choice, that decision, really easy for Coach Riley if he becomes that guy. If he can, I don't know if he's going to be a a home run hitter every time he touches the ball, but he can do so much. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. He's not going to go down on first contact. He's got enough shiftiness, enough wiggle to make people miss. And again, I think he's strong enough to finish runs. We were talking about this on Inside the Trojan Huddle earlier today when we recorded the show. Don't forget to check that out later this week, where Woody Marks was so good at what he did. But there was that run he had against Michigan. What went like 65 yards? He needed to go 67 yards to score the touchdown. You need somebody who can finish the play. And I think Waymon has that compared to what Woody brought to the table. That's not a knock on Woody. It's just, kind of showing the comparison of what USC missed last year. So Waymo, you look at his JUCO film, he's got superstar written all over himself. This is kind of low-hanging fruit, but I think both Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, they're going to piss off a lot of folks who underrated them this preseason. And that's good. People should get mad at themselves for making a mistake. So people have heard the name Mekhi Lemon. They've heard the name Jacoby Lane. This is the year where both of those guys say, you know what? Talk about us. You got no choice. Tobias Raymond is definitely on the watch list. The fact that Coach Riley said that Justin is a likely starter, as I talked about in the first segment, it tells me that Tobias will be playing one or two positions. That means he's too good to keep off the field. All right. USC should always have at least one, if not two, offensive linemen in the conversation of who are the two of the best in the country. Hopefully Elijah Page will be part of that conversation as well. My dark horse superstar, Walker Lyons. But that's completely up to Coach Riley. Coach Riley needs to use Lyons the way you anticipate Coach Riley using Mark Bowman when he shows up next year. Walker Lyons is healthy. He has plenty of time to learn the playbook now. His last year was last year, coming off an injury, trying to get back into football shape, yada, yada, yada. All that's behind him. He was considered one of the top tight ends in the country coming out of high school. This is the show me year. This is where Walker becomes a superstar before his brother becomes a superstar in college. I don't know how much of a choice in the matter that Devin Tompkins has, but Tompkins is the chosen one in 2025. He doesn't have a choice. We've been talking about him all offseason because the coaching staff keeps talking about him. The best part about Devin's story is he came in to USC as a project. I think that's a fair assessment. He had more basketball experience than he had football experience. But he's come in, he's put in his time, he's developed. And now, like I said, the coaching staff, they can't stop talking about him. Look, wouldn't it be great if he had a Tuiapolotu type of season? I'm not anticipating him leading the nation in sacks, but if he can grab somewhere between, 7 and 10, you're going to hear Devin Tompkins' name called on draft day. Might not be day one. Maybe it's day two. But if he has a big season like everybody anticipates, he's got a big payday waiting for him. From freshman phenom to sophomore superstar, Desmond Stevens. He looks like a linebacker. Okay? He looks like one, but he has that athleticism of a safety. I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell the grass monster tripped him up when he had that interception against Penn State last year. That should have been returned for an intercept for a pick six. But again, stuff happens. But when you watch him doing the return, he's like, all right, linebackers aren't supposed to move like that. I mean, he was zigzagging in and out of people. He was making people miss. And I think he kind of wore himself out running so many yards trying to get to the end zone. Jakeem Stewart, Thanos, he's the obvious choice to be a superstar. I think his ascent starts rather quickly, real quickly. But look, there's older guys in front of him, with more experience, Cam Fountain, Anthony Lucas, Braylon Shelby. But you need to get him on the field as much as possible, as long as he can hold his own, right? I would also put Floyd Boucard in the superstar category for this year. His star is going to shine bright starting in 2026, only because there's just way, way too much veteran experience in front of him. I mean, I mentioned the name John Jarrett, Keyshawn Silver, Kobe Pepe. Don't count out Carlon Jones, who is finally healthy. You got some big dudes in front of you at the defense tackle, nose tackle positions. So Floyd will get there. Trust me, he will get there. But I just don't know if it'll be this year where he becomes a superstar. I think next year is his time. He kind of it's a slow, gradual ascent for Floyd. I know how Coach Henney feels about it. If Coach Henney is that positive, everybody else should be as well. So who else should be on the superstar list for 2025? I'm not talking about down the future. I'm talking about this year. Give me some names. Hit me up in the comments section. You know where to find me on YouTube. If you are watching this show on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, and you like the show, hit that red subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. Hit that bell notification. We're starting the season in 4 days. You do not want to miss one episode of Locked on USC. Trust me, especially after a game. You'll see my passion. You'll see a visceral reaction from me. All right. Got one more segment to go. And we got to do this before we get there. But we're going to talk about Rob Ryan and the linebackers. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra. I know you've heard of Cialis. Maybe you've even tried both of them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost the blood flow below. Unlike the usual pills that take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue, and it kicks in really fast, like 15 minutes or less. And the effects, they can last a long time, up to 36 hours. So you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked for you, Rougiette might be the answer. With over 150,000 men, they've already made the switch. And here's what you're going to love. It's completely online, and Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor, and they ship your treatment discreetly right to your front door. Head to rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today when you place your order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the website. I know you have to accept this. Eric Gentry, Desmond Stevens, they're not coming off the field. I mean, unless they got to catch their breath or I'm not going to say the I word, they're not coming off the field. They're too good. And the reason Gentry's not coming off the field is when he leaves, the drop-off is really noticeable. And I'm not talking specifically about the guys backing him up. I'm talking more so about the defense as a whole. It changes. Eric Gentry does some really different, unique things that makes everyone else around him better because of what he's capable of doing. Now, with that being said, what does Coach Rob Ryan have to do the most with his group of linebackers? We know Desmond and Eric, they're going to stay on the field as often as possible. The coaching staff has talked about that. Antonlynn has said it straight up. In fact, it was just a couple of weeks ago he said it publicly after practice. First and foremost, Coach Ryan has to find his mojo that can help elevate the players that are backing up Eric and Desman. I'm not questioning his coaching acumen. He just has to find the right buttons to push so the guys that are backing up Eric and Desman, like Jaden Walker and Anthony Beavers and Tamir Robinson. So when they actually do step on the field, there's not a big drop off. He has to find a way to, I guess, keep the guys ready to play standing on the sidelines, because those guys have to accept the fact that, hey, we might only get a couple of snaps during a certain amount of time. So that's going to be a big challenge. It's getting the guys on the field some more playing time so they can earn more trust. Again, there's the drop off from Eric to anybody behind him. It's not an indictment on the backup as much as it just shows how good of a player Eric Gentry is. But yeah, I think Rob, one of his biggest challenges is keeping the backups ready, keeping them ready on the sideline, ready to go, and not letting them, sulk because they're not playing a lot. He also has to identify that third linebacker spot. We've talked about this as well before, but Antonlynn explained why he has Tamir Robinson and Jaden Walker and Anthony Beavers, has those guys cross-training at the middle linebacker spot specifically. He said, quote, we want everyone, and I think he was talking about Jaden and Tamir at the time, but we want both of them to know the inside backer, because at the end of the day, we want our third best inside backer in the game. The reason why you need to identify who that person's going to be is USC is going to play a bunch of teams this year that like to run the ball more than throw the ball. For instance, both Michigan schools, they like to run the ball. That is their DNA. Iowa, we know that's what they like to do. UCLA, Deshaun Foster, head coach, ex-running back, he likes to run the ball. And then you also, Notre Dame, Oregon, those games on the road, those are two teams that like to run the ball. So again, there's going to be a lot of times when the defense needs three linebackers on the field. So who's going to rise to the occasion? Is it going to be Anthony Beavers? Is it going to be Tamir Robinson? Is it going to be Jaden Walker? Is it going to be Roman Marchetti? Who knows? Someone's got to step up and take the bull by the horns, so to speak. So to reiterate, this is what Rob Ryan needs to get done with the linebacker group. Keep Gentry and Stevens on the field, but at the same time, find that balance where they're not getting worn down. Give them a chance to catch their breath. These first two games, I would say maybe the first three games, are a perfect opportunity to kind of rotate guys in more than you normally would. Number two, elevate the level of play with the backups. But again, at the same time, you got to be able to keep them happy when they're on the sideline. Get them to accept their role. And then third, just talked about it, identify that third linebacker spot. And then obviously, make sure his guys are technically sound, physical as possible. And when I say physical as possible, push the envelope, stick your toes on the edge of that cliff. Do whatever you need to do. Just don't pick up any dumb penalties. Play with that edge. Take it to that Brian Cushing level. Just take it down one notch. Don't go full Cushing. I don't know if Brian would be able to exist in today's game with the rules the way they're set up. It was violent. But that's okay. That's what you want from your linebackers. And that's what I want to see from Rob Ryan's linebackers. Okay, that's it for this episode of Locked On USC. Man, time flies when we're having fun. I'll be back again with another episode tomorrow. Hopefully without this itch in my nose bugging the bugging the heck out of me. But until then, everyone, don't forget, when you're done making Locked On USC your first listen every day, don't forget you got Brian Smith with the Portal Show. You can watch that on YouTube. And when you're all done with the Locked On Network, get on over there to wearesc.com. Check out what I've got written. Check out what Eric McKinney's writing, what Scott Schrader's doing with recruiting. And we also got the Inside the Trojan Huddle episode this week. So until that next episode, and I'll be here tomorrow for that, but 4 more days. USC kicks off against Missouri State. Beat the Bears.